Today, we're going to be talking about the Kelp GUI, where anyone can trade crypto. My name is Nikhil Saraf, and I'm one of the developers for the Stellar Development Foundation. We're going to go over what is Kelp, what is the Kelp GUI version 1. We're going to see some screenshots, and then we're going to go into a demo, and then have some time for questions later on. So what is Kelp? Kelp is a trading bot that has a command line interface. It was built for the Stellar Decentralized Exchange, and later on, we added support for over 100 centralized exchanges. You can customize existing trading strategies with configuration files. Today, we have 4 trading strategies. You can create new trading strategies by writing your own code. Kelp is written in Golang, so any trading strategies that you write would need to be written in Golang today, with the possibility of supporting more languages in the future. We open sourced Kelp in the summer of 2018. The Kelp GUI is a relatively newer addition to Kelp. It is a GUI to manage multiple Kelp bot instances. Today, it does not work on centralized exchanges and only works on the Stellar Decentralized Exchange. We start off with just one trading strategy to make it easier for people to learn how the UI works. You can't create new trading strategies today, but in the future, any trading strategies that are created on Kelp will automatically be supported by the UI. In addition to writing the backend for the UI in Golang, we added support for React for the front end. The UI was open sourced in the summer of 2019, and only last month did we release the first release candidate of the UI. We have an integration for the CCXT REST server, which gives you native access to data from all of those 100 exchanges directly into the UI without any additional installations. You can download it as a desktop application, and very soon you will be able to run it in a hosted testnet environment as well. Let's go ahead and see some screenshots. So this is what Kelp looks like when you first load the application. You have 2 options. The first one is to auto-generate your first test bot. This is for people who are first-time users of Kelp and gives them a starter bot that they can use. We have a video that we uploaded with the blog post announcement of the Kelp UI that walks you through creating your first test bot through auto-generation. The second option is to create your own bot, which gives you a little more controls over the parameters of your bot. On the top left, you can see the version being used for this UI. And you also have an option to quit the application when you're done using it. This is a screen to create a new bot or to edit an existing bot. You enter your secret key over here. You can see the corresponding public key. You enter the assets that you want to trade. For XLM, you don't have any issuer, but for all other assets, you have an asset issuer. Coupon out here is just a token asset that we use. This could represent anything. It is just a test market. This is the price feed section for the buy-sell strategy, which is the first strategy that you are allowed to use on the UI. The price feed allows you to set the prices for the base asset and the quote asset described on the previous page. The base asset is always set as a numerator. In this case, because our base asset was XLM, we've chosen to price it as the XLM USDT price from Binance under the centralized exchange section. And you can see a sample price out here in the screenshot. For the denominator, we're going to price the coupon asset as 1 unit of US dollar. So we use the fixed value of 1.0. Again, coupon here can represent any asset. For the purposes of this video and this demo, we're going to be treating it as a US dollar. This box out here tells you what the final calculation is of your price. You can see how the price is derived. we basically take the price of the XLM coupon market, we take the price of the numerator divided by the denominator, and then we get the final price. The sentence makes it easier to understand how you are pricing the asset, which we will go into more detail in the demo. At the end here, we have some levels that tell you how you can price the different levels that spread out from the center mid price that has been set over here of 0.06192. Once you've created a few bots, this is how your Kelp application or your Kelp forest is going to look like. We have the first auto-generated bot of George the Auspicious Octopus. We've created two more bots, Harry the Harmless Hapuka and Jerry the Unsightly Shrimp. If you take a look on the left side, you can see the markets and the balances of these bots for those tokens. So George has about 9,799.99 lumens and 1,010 coupon tokens. Similarly, Harry is trading in the Bitcoin and USD market, and Harry has no balance in either of those markets. And Jerry is trading in the Lumen BTC market and has close to 10,000 lumens. The spread for both of Harry and Jerry are -1 because no market exists, whereas George is currently running and has created a market with a spread close to 0.0020%. This spread out here does not necessarily indicate the spread that George is creating, but it is the spread of the market. You can also see how often the bot is updated. This is a check on the last time that we got information about the spread and the bids and the asks for this given bot. This typically runs about 5 seconds by default for the UI. If you click on the 3-button menu over here, you have the option to select to see the offers and the market for this given bot, and also to edit the bot if it is in the stop mode. You could also delete the bot if you wanted. Let's go ahead and see a demo of how the bot works. So I've started up the bot in my machine, and we see the first screen out here. So I'm going to go ahead and create the first bot manually. So we have Madison the Glamorous Sawfish. Let's create a new secret key. So the bot will automatically create a new secret key for us and create the relevant trust lines, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's trade in the USD and Euro market. Now, we are trading on the test network out here, and for simplicity, let's use the default asset issuer that we have. So I'm going to paste that in both of these token issuer spaces. Now, one advantage of using the default asset issuer is that the bot is going to create and fund the account with 1,000 units of each of these tokens. Now, if we go to the advanced settings, we can see how often this bot runs. So by default, it runs once every 60 seconds. For the purposes of this demo, let's change this to 6 seconds. We also have a randomized delay by default, which is set to 15 seconds. Let's set that to 0 for now. There are some more advanced settings out here, which I won't go into detail for this video. When we want to price this market, let's try and set the best price for the USD token. Now, because this is a dollar and we're generally using the dollar denominated values, we can actually just use a fixed price of 1. However, for the denominator, we're pricing the euro token. For that, we actually want to use the price of the euro. So let's go to fiat, which uses the currency layer API. Let's select euro. Now you notice that it says that the price is missing. It also has an error message out here that says that we have an invalid API key. Of course, because we don't have an API key out here. So I've signed up for a free account for currency layer. So I'm going to go ahead and use that key. I'm going to refresh this price. And as you can see, the price is updated. It's always good to do a sanity check on the prices that you get over here, because these are the prices that the bot is going to see when it's running on a continuous basis. 1.088 as a price for the euro makes sense because a euro is worth more than $1. Now, one thing to note about these price feeds is that this price that you see out here is not the price that is hard-coded into the bot. The bot is going to run the same query at every time interval that it runs, which we previously set to 6 seconds. So it's going to get a price that moves with the market as you have set for this price feed. So this is a very active and dynamic price feed. As you can see, we run the calculation of taking the net price that we will get, which is $1 divided by 1.0888 for the euro price, which gives us 0.91844. The sentence helps explain that, which is you are valuing 1 unit of the US dollar at 0.91844 units of a euro. This makes sense because a euro is worth more than a US dollar. Now we come to the levels. By default, the bot starts out with 4 levels. Why don't we change these amounts to be 50, just for the purposes of this demo? And it's being set at a spread value of 0.1% from the mid price, which means that the bid-ask spread is 0.2% here, 0.3% here, 0.4%, and 0.5%. Let's create this bot. So this bot is now in the process of initializing, which means that the application is creating the necessary trust lines and issuing the relevant assets to the new secret key account that we created. This usually takes a little bit of time, and it seems like we're done. So as you can see, we have 1,000 units of USD as well as the euro. And if we hover over to this eye icon, we can see the asset issuer. And the spread, of course, is -1 because we don't have a market yet. Now let's create a second bot that is going to compete with the first bot before we start any of them. So we're going to follow the same process, but I'm just going to do this a little quicker. And we're going to set this to be around the same time interval, just for the purpose of this demo. All right, doing our sanity checks, we get about the same price, so that's right. We can just leave this at 100, that's fine. Now, we want these bots to compete with each other. Now, normally, we would not force these bots to compete, but I'm trying to show a specific example out here, which allows the second bot to purchase all of the US dollars from the first bot. So I'm intentionally mispricing the second bot. I do that by adding a 0.05 cent offset to this bot's price. Now, usually this advanced settings section is there to correct any prices that I might see. So for example, if I was to go to the Google website and find a price for a token, and that's the one I chose to use, or if there was a price that my bank was giving me and I wanted the currency layer price feed to come closer to that, we have a way of adjusting the price feed once we receive the price feed by setting the offset percentage, which can be a negative value, and the offset as well, which can be a positive or negative value. And this allows us to make any corrections in the price feed that we get. So in this video, I'm misusing this advanced setting intentionally just for the purposes of this demo. Let's go ahead and create this bot. So Madison was the first bot that we created and Joshua was the second one. If I click on show market, it's going to open up the screen on the second window. Let's see that. Now you can see we have the USD Euro market for the same token issuer, but there's no market. Let's start the bot for the first bot, which is Madison. This is the one that is priced correctly. What we're going to see is that there are some bids and asks placed against this bot. So you can see that the bot is pricing this asset at close to 0.918 with a spread of 0.20%. Now let's start the second bot. What we're going to see is that this 1,000 USD balance is going to get drained out and the Euro balance is going to increase for Madison, whereas Joshua is going to see an increase in the USD balance and a decrease in the Euro balance. So what is actually happening is that Joshua is being priced, if you look at the mouse cursor on the right side over here, and the asks of Joshua are hitting against, the bids of Joshua are hitting against the asks of Madison, which are then crossing over, and then we get some trades. So this is being run once every 6 seconds. So pretty soon we will see the entire amount getting drained. You can also see out here that we have 2 additional bids at 0.96, which is higher than Madison's bids. The reason is because Joshua now has enough dollars to be placing these bids, but Madison is not able to consume them. So Joshua's bids would then lie on the order book. So it looks like we're about done here. Madison has $0.2 left, and Joshua has pretty much the entire amount of the 2,000 USD initially allocated for these bonds. You can also see that the bids and the asks have changed depending on how these orders were placed and consumed. Now getting back to the Kelp window. So we are now ready to stop these bots and quit the application. But before we quit the application, we should be very careful to hit the stop button, because if we don't do that, then these bots will, although they will be stopped running, these orders of 1 bid, 4 asks, and 4 bids and 0 asks would still remain on the order book, which would then potentially see some trades happening without us having expected it. So it's always important to stop these bots. Let's go ahead and do that. In the process of stopping these bots, the application kills the bots as well as deletes the offers associated with the bot. As you can see, these bids and asks have gone to 0. And the spread has gone back to -1, as you can see in the window. So let's go back to the presentation. So in summary, we went through what is Kelp, what is the Kelp GUI version 1, some improvements that we would have in the UI, the screenshots, and a demo of how you can create two bots in the UI to trade against each other. Let's go into some questions. Thank you everyone for attending this session, and I hope that y'all learned something about the Kelp UI today. Thank you.